So today we are going to continue that series on weak ores by answering a question thrown to me by one of you guys. Aiton Hines asks, and hopefully I pronounced that correctly, where would you place your weak ores generally speaking, and how do you sort multiple weak ores? Now, I think these are two great questions that need to be answered. Thank you for asking them, because they are a baseline for what we're going to continue to do throughout this series, and that is we need to figure out where to put stuff, and we need to make sure that things don't get too crazy when we're utilizing multiple weak ores, that we're using them for specific events, specific encounters, etc. We don't want things to get crazy. So both of these important questions to answer and important questions to ask. Let's start with the first one. Where do you generally put your weak ores? For that, I think the easiest answer is where it makes sense. And that's a cop-out, right? Like, we can just put them wherever it makes sense. If it's an important thing to track, i.e. if we're looking at the Guardian Druid, things like Mangle, things like Thrash, where I really want to know when these things are off a cooldown, because they're huge DPS gains and threat gains and active mitigation in the form of, some of the talents and some of the weapon artifact traits and whatnot, where I'm getting bonuses when these things are up. So I want to make sure I know when to use them. However, things like if we look at the weak ore we created last time, tracking a trinket, do I really care if a trinket procs? I can probably shove that off to the side of the screen where I don't have to look at it as much. The key here when you're designing not just weak ores, but your user interface in general is how easy is it to get to the information that I need to get to? What do I need to know? That's what needs to be in the center of my screen. The things that I really don't care about that are less important can be shoved off to the side. It all comes down to how fast you can get the information that you need and react to it. And if I'm looking for, when is my Mangle on cooldown and it's at the top left of the screen, I have to look away from the boss, I have to look away from the raid frames, and I have to figure out what's going on and then go back. That is how I would design my weak ores, is important stuff, center of the screen, stuff I don't care about, towards the sides of the screen. That's why a lot of players in general, at least from what I've always heard, an opinion of mine, is that the default, and you guys can see it here, the default user interface isn't great for WoW, because everything's shoved off to the sides. You can see by default the unit frames are top left, the bars are at the bottom. Not very easy to figure out what's going on. So that is how I would design and how I would position my weak ores. Now, the second question, how do you sort them? And I think this is an excellent question, and that's why we have the Guardian Druid here, is because I have two sets of weak ores that I want to show you guys. I want you guys to focus less on the weak ores themselves, because they're very rudimentary. They're things that I haven't touched in a very long time. I haven't played the Guardian Druid in quite a long time. So don't focus so much on the actual weak ores, but how I've grouped them together and the capabilities for each group. So as always, to pull up our weak ores, we're going to do /WA, and it's going to pull up my set of weak ores. Now, we're going to ignore the res timer. We're going to ignore the swap blaster. We don't care about that right now. What we do, and the raid assist stuff, which is actually empty right now. What we do care about are our two groups, the Guardian Druid group right here, which, like I said, there's crap that I need to clean up, and we care about this test group right here. So both of these are examples of ways that you can group up your weak ores. To do this, we start by going to new, and you can see here you have a dynamic group and a regular group. A regular group, think of it like you would group up a set of files in a folder in whatever operating system you're using. It's pretty basic stuff that you would go group, and we could call it YouTube test group. I understand the mechanical keyboard might be frustrating, and from there you can just drag it and plop it down in there, and there you go. Now, the important thing to remember, and we're actually going to move the survival instincts back up here. The important thing to remember for both of these, the dynamic group, which we're going to get to here in a second, and a regular group, is you have to be careful of the positioning. I'm looking for it here. Oh, we didn't want to do that. The positioning, your X offset and Y offset. Because, and this is important, guys, I want you guys to realize this, is you can inherit the X and Y offset of your group. Meaning that if you guys see this stuff right here, it's all set to 0, 0, right? However, if we pick on survival instincts, we can drop that thing. We can move this right here, and it's away from the group. But we can also change it up here, and we can still move everything within the group. And of course, I've jacked everything up here, but I think you guys get the picture. I don't know what it was. That you can inherit both sets of positioning. So you want to be very careful. What I would do, and what I've always done, and you guys should be able to see this on several of my other characters that are in the, my priest and my paladin and whatnot, even the mage way back when, is you want to set kind of a baseline positioning in your group, and then you want to kind of spread everything out from that group. What I mean by that is, if you know where your group is going to start at, i.e. 0, 0 for your X and Y offset, you can go into each one, and this is just going to be to the right, which of course, like I said, everything's messed up right now. So it's going to be to the, actually that's the left of center. And then bark skin, like I said, is going to be to, everything's fucked up, to the left of center. But hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm saying here, is that you can very easily group things up and not have to worry about going down through here and positioning every single thing. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, the second one that I want to look at here is the dynamic group, because the dynamic group is really cool. And I want to start by showing you guys the example. So if we go up to this rating training dummy, and you guys can see right here that I have weak ores that are popping up. And what this is doing is it is keeping track of, I guess the easiest way to put it is my rotation. So I've set my weak ores based on conditions, i.e. if we look here, Iron Fur is the first one on the right. If I have enough rage to cast Iron Fur, boom, it lets me cast, it shows me to cast Iron Fur. And then from right to left, it tells me the most important spell that I should be casting. So I know I have enough rage to cast Iron Fur. I can do a Mangle, I can do a Moonfire, I can do a Thrash. Okay, I have more for an Iron Fur, I can do another Mangle, I can do a Swipe, Thrash, I can do a Mangle, and this is literally telling me my rotation. I know without even thinking about it what my rotation is. And I know we've talked about this in the past, and some people are pro and some people are against having some type of rotation helper. Whatever, man, whatever makes it easier for you. But I think this is a great example that, based on my conditions, and we're going to get out of combat here. We have to wait to get out. Okay, I think maybe one of my bleeds or Moonfire might take us back into combat for a second. Okay, maybe not. Cool. So you guys can see here that I have conditions set. So if we look at Mangle, and this is, again, if we go into this is a dynamic group. Everything from the regular group is the same. It just adjusts position based on conditions. So Mangle is available. I have triggers that, if the cooldown is available, it shows Mangle. The Galactic Guardian buff, again, same thing. We looked at this last week. If the buff is not on it, it shows the Galactic Guardian. If I have the Galactic Guardian buff, whatever. It shows me my rotation so that I don't have to think about it. And I've prioritized what is most important. So honestly, Swipe can probably be moved down. But I will show you guys here that it will prioritize things based on where they are at in this list. Okay, so Swipe honestly should be down at the bottom, but actually I think the triggers that I have, the conditions, are set to where everything else has to be on cooldown. So I've already taken care of that from my end, but these are two ways that you guys can group up your weak ores based on the needs. If it's something that you're going to be I need to know the status of something. I need to know when my cooldowns, my big 3-minute cooldowns are available. Probably a regular group. I need to know one important piece of information. Probably a regular group. I need to know a big set of information, and I need to make decisions based off of that set of information. Probably a dynamic group is the way you want to go. Hopefully this has been useful. I understand that it might be a little confusing because we're introducing weak ores and conditions and different things here that we haven't even talked about. But I just want you guys to focus simply on the groups. That a normal group that you can drag and drop your weak ores into is for basic, I want something to group up weak ores that, maybe I need a bit of information on every once in a while. But if I need to make significant decisions about things, if I need to prioritize weak ores one over the other, maybe a dynamic group. Hopefully that helps. If it does, you guys know what to do. If it doesn't, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.